over, no problem.
Right. The interview that I did with this guy called John Duffield, he explains the similarities between magnetic field and gravitational field. He believes that they're both effects on space itself. So electromagnetism or electromagnetic field is effectively space which has been twisted in two planes. So if you twist it that way and that way, it's a piece of twisted space. And a gravitational field is a piece of stressed space. So if you imagine a block and you put stress into it, it's more difficult for light to pass through it. So the two are related in that they are effects of space. And so I'm of the mind that electromagnetism can be used to create effects within gravity. It's just that in our conventional electric motors and generators, the fields aren't big enough to affect the gravitational field. Is that
it's not so much big enough, it's doing it just right.
Right. Would you describe it as resonance?
Right. From what I've learned, it appears that the matter has various facets. You have a motor. Well, in a different mode, it could be a generator. You have gravity. You can make it reversed. Yeah. John calls it inverse gravity. So we believe there are facets to all these forces. It's just a way of, you got to find a way to engage it and modify it.
Of course, something people don't realize, light and magnetism is electrons. We're looking at electrons in action at different angles, but they are all the same. They're just the same. The other thing is light is shown as 7 different bands, which gives us different colors due to the frequency of the band. Magnetic has always been shown as 1 band, but because light, electrons, magnetism are all one, the same thing. Yeah. Therefore, I said back in 1946, then the magnetic field is identical the same, because they are related to each other. Yeah. So there must be in bands. What we're doing is our magnetic system, which is I call conventional magnetism, uses white light. All the bands are all in one. What we've done is separated one band. It could be the blue band, a blue light, and it's band of magnetic field. We got that band. When you separate the bands, they're much more powerful than when they're all together. So I say that our magnetic field really is in the blue band region of frequencies. And again, we got another issue. Every material has its own frequency. What we're doing is we're trying to make a compromise between all these 4 frequencies into one sort of base frequency, so that we'll always go the same way. So when you put your rolls on the first plate, scientists always say the next lot will go in the opposite direction. They don't. They'll all go the same way. Same with it. You got another band. You could go, but let's put it this way: the voltage steps up. Every band you have, you put these extra rolls on, and the power is really going up. I find 3 plates are good enough for a house, and even for cars and lorries and buses. But when you come to flying, we don't put the extra plate on. What we do, we add 2 more elements to the system. That this bangs up the energy even greater. So it's a combination. You have to decide what materials you're going to use, and remember that all materials have different density, and we work into density. So we have to know the density of the material so we can decide how wide that band's going to be. Next problem is, will the thickness we pick for the wall be powerful enough to hold the magnetic field? Or will the field fall off? These are all sort of things we have to consider. So nobody can just go make one in the shed. Amen. It's a very complicated thing. It looks simple watching it. What makes it very amazing to think that a weight is spinning there, not tied to any shell or form, and it's spinning racing around there, and it don't fly off. And as I say, one more said to me on the internet connection, boy, that roller spinning around that plate. They'll say, how many volts are you using? 5. I said, burnt it another 2. Did. They come back. It's going crazy, he said, because the speed is immense.
So just to come on to the model that was shown in the film, where you've got some LEDs and you put them into the field and it's generating an EMF. In that model, you actually are putting electricity into that system. That's
Yeah,
not
that's
a
far
actual.
short of
That's not a working model, is it?
That's what we call the SEG mock-up.
Right.
It's far short of a prototype because we don't have all the elements into it.
Right.
It's magnetic and copper. What we're doing there is demonstrating some of the principles of the SEG, just by its own physical setup. Automatically, you see that the rollers space out by themselves. They also stay on track. These are confirmations of the concept.
Right. Yes.
And this is the way I do my research. I try to isolate the principles of the SEG and then demonstrate it. And I have 4 demonstrators so far.
Good, good. And just to go into the material that's holding you back, that's holding you back, you're getting...
What's holding us back is the kind of funding that will support the kind of infrastructure necessary to build an SEG. Remember, when John first started out, he had everything in place. Personnel, facilities, engineers, and all that.
All right, so
that's what I'm trying to recreate for John. And
you need some of this is it rare earth element. Is that the main thing? Is that the main cost that you're?
No, it isn't. It's the facilities, the manpower, the research, the companies, the power sources, and all that. There's an infrastructure that's necessary to build an SEG. You just can't make it. We have to deal with reality.
Right, and you're seeking.
Oh,
interested parties. So
we're seeking investors, yeah.
Yes. So if there are any,
if we're going to start from scratch, we're going to need 3 mil at least,
right.
And that's to prove the Searl effect.
Right.
And then from there we go on to manufacturing.
All right. So if there are any people watching who would like to get involved in investing their money into this project, then
we do have parties interested, but we have to sort them out.
Right.
You know, sometimes they're not what you think they are. We have to sort them out, as I said.
So.